Today we're going to talk about three different numbers: atomic number, atomic mass, and mass number. And those three things kind of sound like they're the same thing, but they're very different from each other. So you really want to pay attention to the definition of each one and how you calculate each one so that you can keep track of the difference. So let's start with the atomic number. The atomic number is basically the identifier for the element. It's the number of protons in the nucleus of the element, because remember, in the nucleus we have protons and neutrons, and around that we have the cloud of electrons. Since atoms are neutral and protons are positive and electrons are negative, those two numbers are going to be equal to each other. So the atomic number tells you the number of protons, and it also tells you the number of electrons. What identifies the element is the number of protons. If you change the number of electrons, it's still the same element. If you change the number of neutrons, it's still the same element. But if you change the number of protons, then you have a whole new element. If you look at the periodic table, you can see that it's organized by increasing atomic number. So if we look at boron, boron is atomic number 5. That's the top little number up there. That means that it has 5 protons and 5 electrons. Sulfur, atomic number 16, has 16 protons and 16 electrons. Okay, so you can see that it starts with number 1 up here in the top left-hand corner and goes all the way to 109 down here, and actually there's a few more elements after that now, but those are the number of protons. And so if you change the number of protons, if I have 5 protons, I have boron. If I have an extra proton and 6, now I have carbon. Okay, so keep in mind the identifier for the element is the number of protons. So the mass number then is a different number. The mass number is the total of protons plus neutrons, and the way I remember it, the way it makes sense to me, is the majority of the mass is in the nucleus. So what's in the nucleus? Protons and neutrons. So then it would make sense that the mass number is the number of protons plus neutrons, since all the mass is in the nucleus, and those are the items that are in the nucleus. Okay, so it gives you a total, and there's two ways to symbolize an element. You can see here we have gold dash 197, and we have the same element with the symbol and some numbers next to it right here. The mass number is given to you right here when it's written out as the word gold dash 197. So you might have mercury dash 59 or something else. Okay, so when it's the word dash a number, that number is the mass number, and again, this is the number of protons plus neutrons. Okay, you can see that same number is right here, 197. That top number, when it's written in this symbolic format, is the mass number. Okay, the bottom number is the atomic number. If we go back to the periodic table and find gold right here, you can see that gold is atomic number 79. So that's why right here the number 79 is written on the bottom. Okay, so you can figure out from these two numbers the number of neutrons for an atom by subtracting, since this is protons plus neutrons and this is just protons. If you subtract those two, you're going to be left with just neutrons, right? Protons plus neutrons minus protons leaves you with just neutrons. So the number of protons in gold and the number of electrons in gold are going to be the same, right? Because that's the atomic number. And then the number of neutrons comes from the mass number minus the atomic number. If for whatever reason you don't have a symbol, then you can round off the bottom number on the periodic table. So let's go back and look at the periodic table right here. You can see that gold, again, we'll focus on gold. Gold says 196.97 on the bottom of the periodic table. So if you were to round that off, that would give you 197, which is the most common isotope. And we'll talk about what an isotope is in a minute. So let's do a couple of examples. Again, here's gold 197. How many protons, neutrons, and electrons? Well, protons is going to come from the periodic table. You look up gold and its atomic number is 79, so you have 79 protons. That means that your electrons are also 79. Okay? And again, remember the number of neutrons is equal to the mass number minus the atomic number. So in this case, the mass number is 197 minus the atomic number, which is 79. So that gives us a number of neutrons of 118. Okay? So 79 protons, 79 electrons, 118 neutrons. Let's do one more example here. This one is written in symbolic format. Remember, this top number is the mass number. The bottom number is the atomic number. The number of protons is equal to the atomic number, which is 30. The number of electrons is equal to the atomic number, which is still 30. And the number of neutrons is the mass number minus the atomic number. So 65 minus 30 gives us 35 neutrons. So that's how you're going to figure out the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons for each type of atom, whether it's given to you in the word format or in the symbolic format. Like ions are when you change the number of electrons. Remember, if you change the number of protons, you're changing the element. If you change the number of electrons, then something is going to take on a charge. And you can see here that this is oxygen, and it has a 2 minus next to it. Electrons are negative, so if you add negativeness, you become negative. So in this case, if it's a negative number, that means that it's gained electrons. Okay? If it's a positive number, then that's going to mean that it's lost electrons. So in this case, oxygen 2 minus, that means it's gained 2 electrons because electrons are negative. So if I take in 2 extra electrons, then I'm going to gain 2 negative charges, which means my charge is going to be 2 minus. So everything else pretty much stays the same. The number of protons is still going to be equal to the atomic number, which in this case you'd have to look up, and oxygen's atomic number is 8. So we can fill it in right here. Oxygen's atomic number is 8, so that means it has 8 protons. But now here's a difference. The electrons, since it's 2 minus, actually means we now have 10 electrons. Okay, normally we'd have 8, right, if it was a neutral atom, but we've gained electrons, 2 of them, so that means the electrons is going to be 2. And remember, the number of neutrons is the mass number minus the atomic number, so 18 minus 8 gives us 10 in this case. Okay, so that's how you find the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons for an ion. Another I word that we're going to look at is isotope. This is the same element with a different mass. And remember, the mass is going to change because where's most of the mass? In the nucleus. So that means that something about the nucleus has changed. Would it be the number of protons? Think about that. Why would it not be the number of protons? The answer is because if you change the number of protons, then you're changing the identity of the element. If you change the number of neutrons, it's still going to be the same element, but it's going to have a different mass because you're adding or subtracting neutrons. Okay? Hydrogen has 3 isotopes, and you can see here, this is one version. How many protons does hydrogen 1 have? 1 proton. How many electrons does it have? Well, the atomic number is still 1, so it'd be 1 electron. How many neutrons does it have? Well, remember, it's mass number minus atomic number, so it has 0 neutrons. Now this version right here, hydrogen 2, how many protons does it have? How many of you right now just thought 2 to yourself? It's a very common mistake. You can't change the number of protons. It would not be that element anymore. It's still 1 proton. It's still 1 electron. What's changed about it is the mass. Look, 2 minus 1 gives us 1 neutron in this particular case. Okay? So then that must mean that hydrogen 3 has 1 proton, 1 electron. That doesn't change. An isotope is a different number of neutrons. 3 minus 1 gives us 2 neutrons in this case. Okay, so that's an isotope. Same element, different number of neutrons. So there's this other number on the bottom of the periodic table that has a decimal. So the top number is the atomic number. The mass number, remember, comes from protons plus neutrons, and you can round off this bottom number if you don't know what it is. But if it's given to you in the symbolic format, you can't do that. So then what is this decimal number on the bottom? Well, it's the average atomic mass, because not all the elements on the periodic table have a different number of neutrons. And within those same elements can have a different number of neutrons. They can have different isotopes of themselves, right? So for example, carbon, there's carbon 12, carbon 13, and carbon 14, each one having a different number of neutrons. So this number on the periodic table isn't a whole number because it has to do with the relative abundance of these isotopes. There's carbon 12, 13, and 14, and there may be 99% carbon 12, 0.5% carbon 13, and 0.5% carbon 14. So it's a very, very small number. So that's going to change your average by a very small amount, okay? These numbers are measured in AMU. And the definition of an AMU, they didn't come up with a name for it, they just called it an atomic mass unit, okay? AMU. And it's based on the carbon 12 atom, it's 1/12 the mass of a carbon 12 atom. So think about a carbon 12 atom. How many particles are in its nucleus? 12, because that's the mass number. 1/12 of that would be 1. And so we're basing that, we're calling 1 AMU 1/12 of the nucleus of a carbon 12 atom, so one of the 12 parts. So that's just what it's based on, okay? Some isotopes, like we said, are more abundant, and so they're going to have a bigger impact on the weighted average. Think of it as your test grade in a class. Usually your test grade has the biggest impact on your grade because your average grade, your overall grade in a class, is based on 50% tests, 20% homework, and let's say 30% participation or something like that, okay? So then that means that your biggest category is going to have the biggest impact on the average, and it's the same with the isotopes. The one that's the most abundant, that has the biggest percentage on Earth, is going to have the biggest impact on the average. So you can see here a calculation how we come up with the atomic mass, the average atomic mass for carbon, which is 12.01. Carbon 12 is 99% of all of it, okay, of all the carbon in the world. Carbon 13 is 1%, and this isn't for real, this is just a mathematical example. So the way you figure out the weighted average is you take the mass and you multiply it by the percent, and notice they've changed the percentage into a decimal, and you add that to the other mass multiplied by the percent that it corresponds to. So 13 is with 1%, 12 is with 99%. You add those two together and you get the average atomic mass, which would go on the periodic table. This is how all of those numbers are figured out. Okay, let's do an example. Magnesium occurs in nature in 3 isotopic forms. Calculate the atomic mass of magnesium from these data. Okay, keep in mind, just because it has the word average, and you might see it just called atomic mass, sometimes average atomic mass, doesn't mean there's any dividing. Everybody always wants to divide, and there's no dividing when you're doing a weighted average, which is what this is, okay? So you're going to take the abundance of each one and multiply it by the mass of each of the isotopes. So we have 24 magnesium, 24 AMU. So we're going to multiply that by 0.7870. We have 25 AMU and multiply that by 0.1013. And 26 AMU times 0.1117. Now notice I converted all the percentages into a decimal, okay? So make sure you do that. Don't leave it as the whole number. It has to be in the decimal format. So 24 times 0.7870 gives us 18.888. 25 times 0.1013 gives us 2.5325. And notice I'm not rounding. And 26 times 0.1117 gives us 2.9042. So we're going to add up those numbers, add them all together. 2.5325 plus 18.888 equals 24.33 AMU. So there is your weighted average according to this data right here. Okay, notice I didn't do any dividing. I just wrote it out and then I added those numbers together. So next time we'll talk about the periodic table and the advent of the periodic table and where it came from and how we got to the one that we use today. Good morning. What's up?
You gotta break this down for me, man.
Okay.
The random chemical bottles.
Okay. Hold on a second.